Let's start. Q Hyper, 2021, 8. Page 39 Number 1. Crystal City School District strives to provide a safe environment for our students under every circumstance. Crystal. The administration at Crystal City High School recently became aware that 8 of our student athletes had developed a staph infection. Crystal 8. There has been no confirmation that the infection was contracted at our school, but we are in the process of testing and sanitizing our locker rooms, restrooms, and the weight room several times a day with disinfectant designed to eliminate these infections. The areas of the school that may be affected have been and will continue to be sanitized and disinfected. Please be assured that the necessary steps have been taken to prevent further transmission of the infection. Included along with this letter is information from the National Athletic Trainers Association regarding the prevention of a staphylococcus infection. Our school works to develop a safe environment for our students throughout our facilities. Page 39 Number 2. Since the pull of gravity influences the stability of the body during the performance of physical activity, the balance or appropriate distribution of those gravitational forces upon the body is essential to promoting stability or balance. The location of the center of gravity, or the point around which the mass or sum of gravitational forces is equally distributed or balanced, is thus of vital importance in the performance of physical skills. We know that the lower the center of gravity and the closer it is to the base of support, the more stable an object. Thus when rugby players scrummage they attempt to get their body weight as low as possible to avoid being pushed backwards. Likewise, when those involved in a tug-of-war pull on the rope they try to lower their center of gravity by leaning backwards and planting their feet well in front of them to increase stability and decrease their chances of being pulled forward by their opponents. Page 40 Number 3. The average tree grows its branches out until it encounters the branch tips of a neighboring tree of the same height. It doesn't grow any wider because the air and better light in this space are already taken. However, it heavily reinforces the branches it has extended, so you get the impression that there's quite a shoving match going on up there. But a pair of true friends is careful right from the outset not to grow overly thick branches in each other's direction. The trees don't want to take anything away from each other, and so they develop sturdy branches only at the outer edges of their crowns, that is to say, only in the direction of non-friends. Such partners are often so tightly connected at the roots that sometimes they even die together. Page 40 Number 4. How frequently do people gauge themselves against others? This probably happens far more often than we like to admit, and probably forms a more important part of our lives than most people are ready to acknowledge at a conscious level. Consider buying a luxury vehicle. Although almost everyone would like to believe that they would make such a purchase for reasons of self-gratification, it is probably true that the purchase of such an outwardly visible manifestation of personal success is overwhelmingly motivated by competitive reasons. In other words, half the point of buying such a vehicle is to let other people know you own it, and to be seen driving it. The buyer wants his neighbors to see his car. He'll park it in the driveway just to put it on display. He wants his friends and co-workers to be aware of his ability to buy such a vehicle. Page 41 Number 5. Speaking of marrying creativity and business, I've discovered that a rock star and a brain surgeon have something in common. It's not that either one would be particularly good at the other's craft, and I'm not sure which crossover would produce the more disastrous results, but rather that each one is capable of performing his craft brilliantly, and generating huge sums of money, without the need for any financial skills. In most businesses, before you can start earning big money, you have to be pretty well schooled in how the business works. For example, if you open up a shoe store, you have to work up a budget, negotiate a lease, bargain for the price of the shoes, and so forth, all before you smell that first foot. But in entertainment, as in surgery, you can soar to the top without any business expertise. Page 41 Number 6. Most people seal the envelope before posting a letter. If asked why, then some immediate responses would probably include comments like "I don't know really," "habit," "why not," or "because everyone else does." More reasoned responses might include to stop the letter falling out or to stop people from reading it. Even if the letters do not contain any sensitive or highly personal information, many of us like to think that the contents of our personal correspondence are private and that sealing the envelope protects them from everyone except the intended recipient. If we sent our letters in unsealed envelopes, then anyone who gained possession of the envelope would be able to read its contents. Whether or not they would actually do so is a different issue. The point is that there is no denying that they would be able to if they wanted to. Furthermore, if they replaced the letter in the envelope, then we would not know they had done so. Page 42, number 7. We typically associate procrastination with laziness or avoidance behavior, but it can just as easily spring up in people who are trying earnestly and enthusiastically to get things done as quickly as possible. In a 2014 study led by Penn State's David Rosenbaum, for example, participants were asked to bring either one of two heavy buckets to the opposite end of a hallway. David Rosenbaum 2014. One of the buckets was right next to the participant, the other was partway down the hall. To the experimenters' surprise, people immediately picked up the bucket near them and lugged it all the way down, passing the other bucket on the way, which they could have carried a fraction of the distance. As the researchers write, this seemingly irrational choice reflected a tendency to precrastinate, a term we introduced to refer to the hastening of sub-goal completion, even at the expense of extra physical effort. Precrastinate. Putting off work on a major project by attending instead to various trivial matters can likewise be seen as the hastening of sub-goal completion. Enthusiastic people can be seen as postponing work as they focus on an immediate goal and try to achieve it as quickly as possible, even taking on an unnecessary burden. The end. Good job.